Sigmund Freud is known in psychology for bringing up one really big concept that previously did not exist in psychology, and that is the subconscious. The idea of the subconscious is that there is a part of our thinking mind that we can't access unless we're asleep. And that subconscious rules and dictates a lot of what we do consciously that we can't really explain. So, for instance, our prejudices lie there. Our secret desires lie there in our subconscious. And we're supposed to try to access them through therapy, specifically talk therapy with Freud. Other than that, Freud didn't really contribute that much to the field of psychology, but the idea of the subconscious really permeates our culture and our ideas of how our minds work. So today, we're going to talk about the subconscious. This is Coffee and Catastrophe with Brent and Gabi.
Yeah, chicks squashing watermelons with their thighs.
Yeah, where does that come from in your subconscious?
I came across a video of it the other day, and it's kind of like when you come across a new genre of music you didn't know existed.
Oh, for sure.
And then you're just like, all right, this is... why do I like... What is... why?
Yeah, I feel that way about Lingua Ignota, who's like a woman. She does like black metal noise, but also does like... there's like church organ in her music. It's so cool. And I'm like, why do I like this? But like, I like, there's something like visceral about it. Like when I listen to it, I like feel it in my soul. But maybe that's just something in my subconscious. She is really known for having these like violent, explosive shows that make everyone uncomfortable. Where like, she has these like utility lights that she'll like flagellate herself with, and she walks around just like fucking screaming, and she'll like walk through the crowd, and then she'll just do like this most beautiful like harmony, and like she was trained to be like an opera singer. So fucking cool. There's just something visceral that I think taps into like my lizard brain that I'm just like, this is me. And I don't know. She's really open about her experiences with domestic violence, and like she has this line in one of her songs where she says, like, my rapist lies beside me asleep or something like that. It's just, like, so moving. And, like, while I haven't experienced domestic violence, there's, like, parts of that I have experienced that are, like, part of being a woman. And, like, this idea that, like, you're just, like, you just want to fucking destroy everything in your wake and, like, have all this rage. And I just fucking feel that. But I don't know, like, what caused it other than, like, my experiences. But there's got to be, like, something else in my subconscious that, like, pushes that to the brim.
That's, I have an idea. Mm-hmm. Let's just go completely off of our subconsciouses this episode.
How do we do that, though?
I don't know. Like, so, for instance, as I was watching WrestleMania last week, mm-hmm. I watched the championship match, Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. Mm-hmm. And it was an amazing match, and it was great, and Kofi won. Mm-hmm. And the whole time I kept thinking, what happened to Kofi's tits?
His tits?
He doesn't have any tits anymore.
Did he used to have tits?
He used to have tits. He's titless. There's no tits. Like, they're gone. Like, imagine, like, a table.
Like, are you talking he just had, like, really nice pecs for a guy?
Dude, he had tits, man.
Like, when you say tits, you mean, like, floppy? Or you just mean, like, nice pecs?
No, okay, imagine a table with tits on it, and then you leave the room, and when you come back, all the tits are gone. That's Kofi. All of his tits, what happened? You know, you go into the room.
Did he, like, slim down?
I don't know. The tits are gone. Like, they're just... someone took the tits, dude.
Yeah, I've never experienced that before.
No. Like...
Okay, so, like, why are you so obsessed with tits? On a man?
Well...
Subconscious?
Not that it was... Okay. It's like when you drive by an area where you're like, oh, they have that restaurant there. And then you drive by it, and it's fucking gone. And then you're like, what happened to that restaurant?
Do you subconsciously want to, like, really just go headfirst into Kofi Kingston's tits?
No, I'm just concerned. Like, did they pack up and leave? You know, because everything's being... Like, okay, Hardee's closed down. I drove past Hardee's a few weeks ago, and they were open. And now it's not only closed, but they took the letters, they took all the signage. It's just fucking gone. And I'm like, what happened to Hardee's? Just like what happened to Kofi Kingston's tits. That's it. I mean, I'm not saying he should have them. I'm just saying, where did they go? Where did all of them disappear to?
And, like, the rest of his body hasn't changed?
No. Like, he just...
And, okay, I'm still trying to understand. So, like, before, did he have, like... Because there's guys who have, like, amazing pectorals that, like, you can see through a shirt and maybe they kind of look like boobs. If, like, you know. But you're saying, like... Were they nice pectoral muscles? And now he doesn't have nice pectoral muscles?
Like, they were there. Okay, like 10 years ago, he had some pecs.
Okay.
And now they're gone.
Like, they're just, like, flat.
Completely. It's just
it's probably like a training style. You know what I mean? Like, he probably stopped doing a lot of, like, chest work because he realized it was, like, making his figure look like he had, like, tits. But now probably doesn't.
I'm just like, what happened?
And, like, okay, so, like, all right, we're gonna go there. On a woman, do you like boobs?
Yeah.
Like, but are you like a boob man or an ass man?
Boob.
Okay, all right. So you probably notice then boobs on guys too. Not that you were attracted to men, but you notice them. And also, why are you so concerned?
Where did it go? That's, you know, what if they're in danger? And, like, right now they're being lowered from a plank on a fucking ship somewhere in the ocean, and everyone's just celebrating the fact that he won the championship and his tits are in danger.
Brent, are you worried about your boobs?
No. I mean,
so why are you worried about Coffee Kingston's boobs?
I'm just worried about where they went. Not that I'm not saying I'm just saying, like, if they're okay. You know,
just want them. You just want to know they're okay.
Okay, like, so if I came here and we were recording, and you shaved your head, I'd be like, "Hey, Gabi,
what happened to your hair?
Where did your hair go?" And then you were just like, you made no mention of it whatsoever, and you're just like, I would be like, okay.
What if he had a pec reduction?
I would. At least I know. At least I know that, like, that they were put down. Safely and medically, instead of, like, being held, like, they're being held captive and sold in India for, you know, trafficking.
Well, I'm pretty sure he just changed his training style. But, like, I guess if you have any information about where Coffee Kingston's boobs are, please let Brent know, because he's very concerned.
Like, you can't just ask. You know, it's hard enough to ask, like, certain things in public, and that's one of them.
Well, you can't really ask. I really don't think it's appropriate to ask anyone about how their body changes. Like, short of a haircut, like example, you notice somebody lost weight. I really don't think it's even appropriate. Again, I'm coming from, like, my eating disorder background, right? Where, like, I know if I was, like, you know, if that eating disorder succeeded for that period of time and I was down whatever pounds and someone's like, wow, you look really good, I would just be like, oh, great, I'm going to keep starving myself. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, that's where my head goes. Yeah. So, yeah, you can't really just ask, like, Coffee Kingston, like, you had some great packs. Where did they go?
It's just, I see patterns, and once the pattern is disrupted, I have questions. That's it. It's just like this.
Where else does this happen?
Basically, like, when people get sad, or let's just say, okay, I like hands, you know.
Me too.
Yeah.
If someone has nice hands, oh.
When I'm at work and I'm just, like, looking at hands, like, I'm not just, like, gawking, but, like, there's, like, within purpose, I can get away with looking at hands more than I could, like, looking at someone's ass, like, just so, like, subconscious level. And, like, I'm noticing, like, little, like, ticks and scratches and shit. Mm-hmm. Not to say, like, there was, like, any harm, but, like, you know, like, the little tiny, like, little tick from, like, maybe 5 years ago, like, a cat scratched him or some shit. And I'm just like, holy shit.
Or they busted their knuckle on, like, a table or something. Or, like,
just random shit. You're just, like, looking at that, and I'm just like, you know, never make any conscious effort to bring it up. I just go back to, oh yeah, let's talk about some English papers. Yes, professional, and let's, you know, but, like, subconsciously, I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm like, very subconsciously, I'm just drawn to the weird.
I think that, like, the hand thing to me is just, like, hands are, like, so unique. And if someone just has nice, like, well taken care of hands, I just want to hold them. Like, this is, like, my weirdness, but, like, it's like I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna date a guy with nice hands, but like if a guy has nice hands, that's like totally a turn on. But like I wouldn't put it on the like would not date list. But like, yeah, no, it's a thing. If you don't have nice hands, like I don't want to hold them.
Yeah.
And like there's a thing to it. Like there's like masculine hands, and like those are just really pretty. And like subconsciously, like I don't know why hands. I don't know why. I'm just like, yeah, hands. Not that like there are people who like get off on like hands, kind of like feet, where like you make it like there's like certain positions or like that you can make with your hand, signs, symbols, right? And there's like a list of like 10 of the most like attractive like positions you can make with your hand for these like hand people. And like, yeah, I thought I could be a hand model for a while, but then I was like, no, I wouldn't do that to myself. And obviously I like to read palms. So like if I'm like reading somebody's palm, like that moment of like holding their hand is like really like sweet, like intimate, but in like a nice way. And obviously like you can make it, you know, it can go another direction if it needs to. But like that moment of like holding somebody's hand is like, I think really like gracious and beautiful. But I don't know where it comes from in my subconscious.
Yeah. Because like I'm trying to like figure out like my weirdness, like where it all started from. Mm-hmm. And it's been like pervasive like my whole life. I just can't help this shit. Mm-hmm. Nor can I or do I articulate it like on a consistent basis.
Yeah. And like I think like just in general, not that we have to like talk about this, like I think that in general, like when people have like certain like turn-ons and like kinks and stuff, like that is completely traced to your subconscious. Like who knows where or how, but like it is. Like I think one of the most intimate things is if someone kisses your neck. Like I think that's just like the sexiest shit ever. Whereas like other people would be like, why? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm trying to trace into my subconscious. I can't fucking think about it.
Yeah, it's like all this shit starts like somehow like when we were going through puberty and like we were just like kind of
even
like
younger, I'm sure.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. Like the only thing I could think of is like whenever I was getting my hair cut, I would always I would pay meticulous attention to whoever's hands was cutting my hair.
Really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
They had nice hands, but like it didn't like click for me. But now like I always like scope out the hands.
Yeah, and I'm not like sexually attracted to hands, but again, it's like there's something about just like beautiful, nice, and like again, there's like the perfect hand for me is like a guy's hand that's like masculine. But it's not like chunky and square, but it's like got some like the fingers are like kind of slender and like, but it still looks strong. Yeah, totally.
It's like a mechanic before they become a mechanic.
Yes. And like without all the grease and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I don't want that near me. But like, yeah, just like strong hands.
Yeah.
They're still soft. Yeah.
It's some.
I was like, yeah, I let those hands near me.
Dude, it's like, I just don't. It's not like a curse, but there's just a lot of shit that like had my subconscious been released into the world, I'd probably be frozen in Arkham Asylum somewhere.
Well, I don't really. And the funny thing is too that like with our subconscious, like you don't really have control of your subconscious. It's just kind of. It's there. It's been there for a while. It has like specific thoughts and needs. That's where all our biases and like prejudices are like hidden away. Freud thought that, and again, like the best like way, if anyone's like still struggling with the concept of like the subconscious, it's kind of like if you imagine like an iceberg, we can see above the water like this, you know, maybe that's like 100 feet tall of like ice, like as a glacier, right? But if we had a camera and we took a picture of like the base of the glacier all the way up to the top, we can see there's a lot more hidden beneath the water. And so like everything hidden underneath the water in this like analogy is your subconscious. It like composes and is the foundation of like what we see consciously. Yeah. And like definitely going to therapy has helped me like really think and like dig through where certain things come from in like my head and my brain.
Yeah, because it is like the basis of just how we perceive our thoughts and, you know, react to certain things in the world.
Yeah, like, and I read that book, like, White Fragility, and they were talking a lot about, like, implicit bias, and, like, there's things that, like, I totally have, like, biases that are just have been implanted in me through, like, socialization that I know are logically, like, wrong and incorrect, right? Like, example, I'm walking on the street, and if a man's approaching me, all of a sudden my fight or flight no matter what the man like looks like, I'm like freaking out. But I know logically like that's like not logical. Like I shouldn't freak out every time a guy like approaches me on the street, right? But like that's like in the subconscious. It's just like, oh man, every man's gonna want to like rape me or like rob me or like whatever. Like it's just in there, and I can't really like reason with that, especially too because it protects you. You know what I mean? Like certain biases, like, well, at least they tell you they'll protect you. You know what I mean? That's how they stay there.
Yeah, kind of like when I'm in public, like I just have this irrational fear of people approaching me asking questions.
Yeah, I agree.
Like especially or in the grocery store, like whenever like I go to the grocery store, sometimes I have some like obscure things that I'm buying. Like for instance, last week Tuesday, I went to the grocery store to buy a bottle of liquid smoke because I was going to make some homemade red beans and rice.
Yum.
Like a Popeye's like copycat recipe. Mm-hmm. There's just a guy with his cart right there. Like no matter where it goes. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go to this aisle, get this thing, and the whole aisle is empty except where the cart is. Like their cart is exactly in the area where I need to get my thing. And
there's no person there. It's just the cart.
Yeah, it's like I kind of like feel like it's the Truman Show sometimes where like all these people are like just planned out. Like the only aisle that I actually can like have called as a safe zone is the pet aisle. I don't know why that is. There's nobody ever on the fucking pet aisle. So sometimes I just put my cart there and I just like go about and like I just like move my shit. But then like some people approach me like, you know, it's very rare that at Walmart someone approaches me and like, hey, are you finding everything okay? And I'm just like, oh god, like I just freak the fuck out. Or even like I have like the last time I stole something was like I was like 6 years old. I really wanted a pack of Power Ranger cards. Aww. And my mom said no, so I was stupid. So what I did was I tried to hide them under my armpit. Now, if I was like as an adult, I could totally get away with it, but 6 years old, little kid armpit, you know, and this big ass pack of cards. You could see the fucking, and there was like
the silver.
Yeah, you could just see the silver taken out, and then like I was just fucking walking up, and then my mom raised my hand, and then they fell, and then like there was just like this silence, or at least in my mind, like
did you get through the store? Like, did you steal them effectively or no?
No.
Okay.
Because I was just like completely stupid. But you know, every time I leave Walmart. Or even like just whenever I go shopping and I walk through the fucking security thing, I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna beep. It's gonna beep.
That's how I feel, and I haven't even like stolen anything.
Yeah, like not even that I did it, and like I could just show my receipt and say like, yeah, I bought all this like carrots or whatever the fuck, and then you know I still feel like someone's gonna approach me and just ask me a question, and then like I'd go to jail the rest of my life.
Yeah, no, I have that like hidden fear too. Like especially yesterday, I told you that like. I don't want to get into it on here, but like I was made very uncomfortable like by something that someone did. Like we were going to a baseball game and I was made really uncomfortable. And like I literally then had a nightmare that I got arrested, and I got arrested because I parked my car like where it shouldn't have been. But I was like it wasn't me who was driving the car. It was this other person. And we were just sitting, we weren't technically supposed to be where we were parked, but we were just in the car and it was parked. And then the like cop who like had long stringy hair and was a dude covered in tattoos, but also had this like weird like feminine energy. Like I don't even know who this like person was, but they arrested me and then I had to pay like $500 or $700 in like 5 months. And I was so worried about my record. And like, I literally had this. Well, okay, so moral of the story is 1, subconsciously and consciously, I am such a rule follower. It's disgusting. 2, I don't want to get in trouble. 3, I'm worried that I'm like, the law is out to get me. I'm just like I'm such a weirdo. Like, I'm so lame. I'm just like worried about everything all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Well, especially too, like after you've been like pulled over, or, like gotten a ticket or something, don't you kind of feel like, I don't know, but like when I got pulled over a couple months ago and got a ticket, I was like, it was really scary because it was like, you really recognize in that moment that that person has all the power, and it's terrifying.
Yeah. They like, no matter what they
can do whatever. They could do whatever. And like, that's terrifying.
I always have this fear, like, whenever I get pulled over, they're going to plant drugs.
Yes.
In my car.
Seriously. Yeah. No, it's like, I'm like, I mean, there's stories about, like, cops taking advantage of, like, women. Like, oh, you want to get out of this? Do this, like, sexual favor for me. Like, there's that shit out there. Like, it's terrifying. And, like, man, like, I can't even imagine if I was a person of color, like, you know, with all the police brutality shit, I'd probably be sitting there like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to make, you know, am I going to make it out alive? It's like, it's just terrifying. Like, it was so scary. And then when I went to court, he was so fucking smug. I just wanted to deck him, like the cop. And I was like,
what happened in court?
Nothing. He just had this fucking attitude. Like, he didn't even say anything. You know what I mean? So it was just like traffic court, right? You know, you line up, judge comes talk, come up, you talk to the judge. He's just sitting there. He's not saying jack shit. But he had this fucking smug ass air. And he and the other cops. And I just wanted to be like, you're fucking disgusting. Like, they just radiated this, like, old boy mentality. Fucking, I don't even know. Just, like, this fucking energy that, like, I'm the person in power. You're the person who, like, fucked up. And I'm gonna watch you suffer. Like, it was, I can't even describe it. And, like, I get along with like many different people. Like, I'm sure that if it was another circumstance, I could have a conversation with that person and it would be fine. But I was just like, I don't know. There was just like this fucking energy of like this air of like, I'm right, you're wrong. Like, or like I could fuck everything up in a moment for you. And I'm like, it's terrifying.
Yeah, I feel that way every time I'm at a cashier and they ask me if I want to donate to the Save the Dying Mentally Handicapped Children Foundation or whatever like foundation makes it really, really hard to say no to without seeming like an asshole. And like, hey, I just say, yeah, it's not today. And then they look at me and I think they're going to go on the intercom and be like, okay, we have this asshole here in lane 3 who didn't want to give to the Holy Virgin handicapped people of the world, or like whatever the fuck it is. And I'm just like, holy shit, they can just ruin my reputation. And then like I'm on the news and.
Yeah, no, which again, it's subconsciously, we all want to be liked. We want to be accepted and we don't want to be taken advantage of. And like the thing that like, I read this quote, I think it was some sort of, I don't know where I came across this, but it was like this pro-police person posted this quote and it was like, the difference between the sheepdog and the wolf is that although they look alike, the sheepdog will never bite the sheep. And that was supposed to be in defense of like police. And I was like, yeah, but the sheepdog and the wolf act a lot alike. Like the reason that I don't think a lot of people recognize that, like, what makes cops good cops is because they have the ability to be good criminals. You know what I mean? Like, personality-wise, I think they've done, like, psychological, like, personality testing, and criminals and police officers have many of the same personality traits in, like, the same quantity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the research, but it's definitely on the TV shows. There's always the TV show where, I don't know the one, but, like, Ice-T.
Oh, SVU?
Yeah, like he just plays, man, that's not how you act in the streets. If he wanted to rob him, he could have just approached him and just held the gun to his face. What he really didn't understand and take into consideration is that he didn't have to shit on himself when he was robbed. And then like everyone's like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Like, and it's always like the guy who's like catches the criminal, and like the hero cop is never just like the straight-laced guy who went to the academy. It's like the guy who grew up in the streets, and
it's the person who can think like the criminal, which most of them, I think, again, like personality testing widely, I believe, supports that they have the same personality traits. I'm pretty sure I learned that in personality psychology in school.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, no. So yeah, I think subconsciously, no, not even subconsciously, but I totally have like a fear of police. Like they just like freak me the fuck out. Like I can't describe it.
Oh, I totally understand. I used to be very afraid, just because like I had a lot of run-ins from the police, like when I was a kid. Not that I caused trouble. It's just that I was always involved with trouble, like one way or another, for reasons I will not get into right now. But I really completely changed my tune only because I work at a school, and the cops aren't necessarily the most dangerous ones in the building anymore.
Well, see, so like the thing about that is like I have some reservations about like, you know, working in high school. There's a lot of people who are like, we need to have a resource officer in the building at all times should anything happen. And the thing is that like statistically, resource officers often get used against students rather than protecting anyone. And also too, okay, let's say the absolute worst case scenario, a high school has a resource officer, there is an active shooter present. No police officer is supposed to go in alone during like a person with an active weapon or active shooter. They're supposed to get out and wait for backup. So like this narrative that like they're gonna run towards the gunfire and save everybody is not a thing. Like they're gonna make sure that everyone gets out of the building, you know, is safely in their area or whatever. It's like a weird thing. Like we can't deny that like these horrible situations keep arriving. Hell, last week there was supposedly a guy with a gun walking into a high school on the western side, not western side, but the western suburbs of Chicago. And they like made this report at like 6 a.m. saying like a guy walked in with a rifle in his backpack. But what it really was a kid walking with a baseball bat tucked into their backpack. The whole school's on lockdown for 2 or 3 hours while they searched for this person, right? And it didn't happen. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, but if a police officer was there, they're not gonna like whip out their pistol and like go find this person. That like goes against all their training. Like, I don't know, man. And I just like, my fear is that it would just get used against students.
Yeah, no, I understand and agree with all that. It's just, okay, like the campus I work at, there's a lot of crime in the area. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like, I'm not kidding, I got an email. Actually, no, my boss called me at like 9 a.m., like when I opened up the place. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, yeah, just checking in, like, how's everything? I said, yeah, fine. He's like, oh, yeah, just to be aware, someone shot at the building last night. You'll notice that there's small bullet holes, like, on the window.
Yeah, that's true. And that campus is, yeah.
Yeah, so then, like, I was just like, oh, yeah, thanks for the heads up. So, I mean... Yeah. The cop there, like, I'm friendly with all the cops there. Mm-hmm. Like, yesterday, I went to open up the place, and my badge hasn't been working because they changed the whole lock system recently. Did they? So, like, everyone needs new badges, but mine worked yesterday. So the cop saw me come in, and I opened the door, and then, like, he, like, came up there, and he's like, oh, I saw you come in. I figured I'd say, because you have to call the security campus to have them open the door. So he's just like, hey, instead of you calling, I just wanted to come back up. You know, like, I talked to these guys. But,
no, for sure.
But, yeah, so usually, like, when I talk about, like, how, like, I'm, like, friendly with the cops, a lot of people assume that they're white cops. They're not. It's a black cop. So... Mm-hmm. What then? Mm-hmm. You know, so I mean, but like, there's like the guy is just a guy, is a person, and I know like if there's an active shooter, but there have been some students of high concern recently that have made some sort of proclamations that, you know, like we all deserve to burn, and like we're just scaring the shit out of like the students and faculty, and like, you know, like just having a cop present just to like assess the situation, like like I'm cool like with that, especially like in this day and age. So
like this person made these comments in person.
Yes, like stood up in class and said like you're all going to burn and all this shit, and then they called the cop, and the cop handled his shit immediately. Yeah,
well, it sounds like that person has mental health stuff. Not that I'm making, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that sounds like a mental health situation, which again is like another thing where like there's been cases of police using brutality against like people with intellectual disabilities. Like there was that story about. It's been circulating for a while now. I think it was a couple of years ago. There was like an unarmed like black man with like autism or something, and he was like having like sensory overload or something, and he was like acting like, you know, he was like reacting to all the sensory overload, like, and people thought that he was like violent or on drugs, and they ended up like the police like killed him, like they shot him, and they thought he had like a weapon or something when he didn't. And so it's just like weird, and like the sad thing is that like what it all feeds off of, like internally for me, is like the idea that like I value like my freedom and my autonomy, and what the police represent is at any moment that can be taken away by one person.
Yeah.
And they will be backed up. Like I can be gaslit by the whole system instantly at like the snap of a finger. And like, it's not that if I think too much about it, I'll like make myself go like nuts. Yeah, I don't know. That's just like so scary to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I still do have this inherent fear of like police, like more like in the suburbs in the city. Because in the city, at least like with my experience, it seems like there's a certain amount of shit they just don't care about, and they're just driving through, like there's crime going on in the street, like, you know, like in the loop, and the cop drives past it, they don't give a shit.
Well, yeah, and like I was telling you yesterday at that like baseball game, like you know, what was going down, the person who was like doing the stuff was like, oh, there's cops all around, it's fine. And I was like, no, like, you don't fucking get it. It doesn't matter that there's cops around. Like, that doesn't really prevent shit from happening. Well, and plus too, like, especially in Chicago, like, you know, it's a really touchy subject to talk about police, because of, like, you know, in the wake of like the Laquan McDonald verdict and all that, like, it's so fucked up. And like, you know, I think even with Lightfoot now as mayor, like, she wants to spend like a lot of money on this new police academy, and she's saying she wants to hold cops accountable, but it's kind of like, yeah, I agree we need to hold cops accountable, but like spending however millions of dollars on a new police training facility, like, okay, well, couldn't you just like make the training program and not have to build a new center? And like, you know, how much of this money is going to go towards like empowering the communities that like need it most and like strengthening them? Because I don't know. I think there's like a need for law enforcement to a certain point, but like strong communities, like if there's a strong community basis that like protects itself, can be almost as powerful as like one man coming in to enforce the law. So I don't know. It's just like, and again, it feeds into that mentality of like this like weird other person that has all the fucking power and can just like ruin your life in a moment. Yeah. It's terrifying.
Yeah. And, that shit's not gonna, it seemed like the post 9/11 praise is completely gone from like firefighters and cops, because there was a period of time where where
they could do no wrong.
Well, yeah, like there was just like the blowing, like after 9/11, like police initially for like a few weeks were just blown, like just for being cops, and then like that went to the firefighters, and like then they got blown, and then like now no one's blowing them at all.
Well, well, especially in this area, the police officer one, because we had that crazy case in like Fox Lake where that sheriff like faked that he was what was it? He said he was being shot at by 2 assailants, and then he actually killed himself. But everyone thought this guy was like innocent and he was killed in the line of duty, blah, blah, blah. But in actuality, he fucking plotted it all. He killed himself. They like, you know, he had put in this fake report that he was chasing these like 2 guys, and like people were literally pulled in to like police stations because they matched the description he gave, quote unquote. And like after just investigating, find out it's all fake. It was a way for him to get like money, or his whole family to get like money or something like that. It's just so, and he was embezzling like all these fucking funds, and like, but once he died, all of that area, the Chain of Lakes, like shut down to like remember the sheriff, and he was so great and blah blah blah, and then they all got fucking egg on their face because he was a piece of shit. I'm just like,
I think like deep down at the end of the day, like I understand the stuff that's going on, and I understand like the frustration going on with like police officers and all the corruption and all that shit. I think at the end of the day, we all deep down want there to be this police force like we were told about when we were kids.
Yeah. Like defeat the bad guys.
Yeah, like enforce the law.
Protect us.
Like friendly officer. I think like deep down, like we want that so bad. Like I want that, you know, like I kind of got a little taste of it at the college I work at, because at least the guy there, he's part of the community. Like he'll actually like sit, like there's been some students like who've been like really distraught. Well, like except for that one kid who just said like let it all burn. But there's been some like students having a breakdown. Like he'll just sit and talk with them for like hours, you know, like, and he's like part of the community, and like, you know, so like there's like that guy. And
I agree. That's the ideal, is like a community member that like protects and like cares for the community. It is not just out to like get you. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not just out to get you and enforce the law, or like catch you doing something bad because they have to make their fucking quota. You know what I mean? Like, it's so...
It's kind of like how we all want, like we all want to have, like, that loving, like, kind of family unit. Mm-hmm. You know, like, we all want, like, a loving, like, mother, father, siblings. Like, we all, like, just, like, kind of all want that support. Like, nobody... Like, if they're doing the job right, no one will just say, actually, yeah, my parents love me and everything's great. Yeah, I can do without that. Like, no one... The same thing with, like the idea of what a police officer should be. I think a lot of people want that, and there's just a lot of like civil unrest right now, and like there's just no solution as to what to do about it, because it just seems like nothing is there, like there's no closure or real solution to the shit because there's a lot of fucked up shit going on, you know.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of corruption. It's a lot of, and again, I believe in the power of a community that, you know, kind of lessens the quote unquote need for police. And I that's not to say that I think that like there should not be law enforcement, period, because we do need people to like take care of, you know, of people who are harmful or doing harmful things. But that being said, like, yeah, I don't know, the whole idea that, again, like one person can take away everything from you. It's kind of like why I don't like Las Vegas. In addition to being sensory overload for me, Las Vegas to me is just like a place where if you wanted to, you could ruin your entire life in one night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's really like grosses me out. And like, I don't know what subconsciously, like, again, maybe it's just like the need for power. And then it's like, well, Gabby, why do you value your like freedom and your power so much? And it's like, oh, probably because like, you know, in my childhood, I witnessed blah, 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 blah. But like, that's what drives a lot of like what I do is like to be like independent and taken care of because of this, like of the shit I've seen.
Yeah.
Which sounds like more metal than it really is sometimes.
God, outside of a show, I'll go to Vegas one time in my life, but like I don't smoke, drink, do drugs. I mean, not like being on a high horse, but that's kind of the appeal and the allure of Vegas. What happens in Vegas is not because you're doing sober shit there.
Yeah,
you know?
And the one time I went to Vegas, I was just like, I don't like being drunk in public. I just feel out of control and I hate it. And like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
God, but at least, like, I'm glad it's not at the point where our minds are being read, but I feel like the technology is approaching where sometimes I have a random question that I'll just put into Google, and just upon, like, the first few letters, it already knows what the fuck I'm going to type, and that, like, really kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, I agree. It's like they have this algorithm where they can kind of freak you out and, like, know what you want. It's really weird.
Yeah, like, I think it's all kind of connected. So, like, you know, like, I recently got a Fire Stick. And the thing is,
did you?
The thing is pretty badass because you could actually, like all of your apps are consolidated. So, like, let's just say, like, you can use the voice command. You could just say, find Batman Begins. And it actually tells you all the apps that it's on. And then it adds it to its own separate queue. And it's pretty sweet. So, you know, I told you before the show, I recently started binge watching Flavor of Love again.
Which we will not judge you for because I love that crazy period of time where trash television was king.
Yeah, and I'm at the point now, like, where if you're going to judge me, like, one, fuck you. Two, why should we like what you like instead? You know, because
three, Flavor of Love was great.
Yeah, but in any case, I wanted to know like where they were now. You know what I'm saying? And then like, you know, just like, okay, like what's New York up to? What about Smiley or Hoops? And then I actually like typed it in. Like I typed in flavor, and then in Google, like I've never searched for this before. Like in my browser history, I typed in flavor, and then like it said of Love Girls Where They Are Now.
Oh my God.
And I did not even type that in ever before, nor search for like any of the other girls on there. And like, it was the first fucking result.
Well, and like, again, subconsciously, like, why would you be afraid of that? Because it means potentially that like something knows you, like it knows like this deep part of you that you don't even express. And again, it's like a thing that could take away your power because it like knows you before you know you. Yeah.
Because at least like with our subconscious, to me, at least with me, it seems like it's a lot of raw, unarticulated, fragmented pieces of emotion floating around. And it's not like a physical, like tangible, like thought or feeling, you know, and it's so impulsive now to like say the right thing, do the right thing, feel the right way. But that's not the case. That's like completely against human nature because like we have this impulse that reacts a certain way initially, like based off of all the other shit we've seen, experienced, learned, feel.
Socialization for sure.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like I'm glad that not everybody knows the shit I'm thinking. Yeah. Because I would have no friends. I would be on the street, and even then, like people would be like, "Oh my God, this guy's like, what the fuck is going on with this guy's face, like in his head?" You know. Well,
I think everyone. That's the whole point, that we have like our internal life. And like that we can like test shit out and think about it before we like say it or do it or like think things through in that way. I think like that's why that's so important. But yeah, no, dude, fuck.
Yeah. Like what are some things like, you don't have to go into details, but is there like a certain section of your mind that you would prefer to just never share with the rest of the world? Like,
oh God, yeah.
Like related to certain things, like for instance, either related to relationships or like art or music or people, you know what I'm saying? Like, is there like a category that where you're just like, all right, the other shit I can get away with, but this one I'll just keep to myself.
Yeah. Like anything in the bedroom, like anything revolving around like sex, like sure, like when I'm with my girlfriends, like we'll talk about like stuff, but there's stuff I'll talk about, but like I don't want anyone to really know really what I like what I like or need, to the point that like I don't think I would ever feel comfortable maybe telling somebody what I wanted. Like, I'm making it sound like I'm into like really weird, nasty shit, and I'm not. I don't, like, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not. But, like, that's, like, one part where I'm like, no one can know that, like, that's, like, what I like or whatever.
It seems like the more deviant and odd the kink or fetish, the more open the person is about it.
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, like, I'm not into weird shit at all. I don't want to call it weird, because, like, whatever. If it's two consensual people, it's fine. Like, adults, it's fine. So there's no animals, there's no children, it's fine.
So you're not into a guy dressing up as Bugs Bunny and giving it to you?
No, I'm not. I don't want that.
Or like a furry wolf, like, and you guys are like and you're like dressed as Tony the Tiger.
No, the furry thing. Did you know there was a furry convention in Rosemont, and a guy pumped antifreeze into the AC to kill him? It didn't work, obviously. But that's hysterical. Not that I condone that, but I found it really funny.
Yeah. So you're not ready to like wear I'm
not into like
diaper.
Pony play. I don't want to I don't want to like dress up as a baby. Like, like nothing. It's really honestly nothing. But like, to me, I'm like, yeah, because there's like a subconscious thing that like, it's subconscious, and I don't know why it's there. And like, plus two, like, sometimes I like shame myself for what I want, and like not like outside the bedroom too. Like, I will like shame myself for things that I like want or desire, or like goals that I have, and I like will like be really critical of myself for wanting them. Like, yeah, I don't know. So like, yeah, there's like, but like, okay, going back to the bedroom stuff, because it's the easiest one to think of, is just like the things that I want. When I like really sit down, I'm like, wow, you like want that to happen to you? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And you're like, and again, I'm making out like it's some crazy thing, and it's not. But like, I would never verbalize to somebody what it is. Yeah, and I'll probably just be unfulfilled forever because of that reason. But like sex and like the subconscious things that you want, that's hard to talk about, I think. Example. I have an ex-partner who wanted me to spit on them and like hit them in the bedroom. What the fuck is going on in your brain that you want somebody to spit on you and hit you?
Yeah.
That's like that's what I mean. Like, why do you want somebody to spit on you and hit you? Do you think you're a piece of shit and like you want your partner to take it out on you? Like, what is it? Like, that weirds me out. And I can't do that.
So, like to be like where that, I never understood a lot of things. Like, I'm vanilla, but I'm a weird vanilla in terms of the shit that I like I'm into, but I don't get shit, and I don't get like, hey, how about you punch the shit out of the family dog, and then I'll just sit and jerk off. Like, I just like weird shit.
or like the what's the one where you yell at the man's penis?
Oh, like the humiliation.
Yeah, like humiliation stuff, or like the violent shit. I'm like, why? Like, number one, I can't, like, I don't care if you're like my one true love. If you want me to spit in your face and tell you you're disgusting and I hate you and like slap the shit out of you, like, I can't do that. Like, no, I love you. I'm not going to do that. But they're like, but baby, I want you to. And I'm like, no.
But if you were into it, you'd probably be more vocal about like, yeah, I spit it. I patooey.
It's like, yeah, I'm really into like beating the shit out of my partner. But like, and then internally, I'm like, why? Why do you want to hit? Like, why do you want to be hit? Why do you want to be told that your penis is like disgusting and small? Like what happened? Like, what happened to you, or like what's in your subconscious that makes you be like, Because a part of me thinks that you must think that about yourself and that you want it for that reason. Because it's like this weird, like, exercising of those feelings.
Yeah. Like,
which then when I think about like what I want, I'm like, wow, do you really feel that way about yourself? And it's like, and it's mostly, okay, I'll just say this. I'm a very strong woman in life. And so the things that I want in the bedroom, I'm not strong. Like, I'm not taking like the dominant role is all I will say. And like that for me is like, oh, so really, down, are you just like super submissive? And I'm like, I don't want to say that because like I'm not. But like, and like, but people have like analyzed this shit. And it's actually, I've heard it's very common for women who are like myself, who are like really independent, that like in their sex lives want to be like, no man, you just take the reins. Like, please, like, don't let this be another thing I have to control. Right. So maybe it's just that, but it's like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's like the one area. And like, I don't know. I think there's also stuff that like in therapy, like I was telling you beforehand, like there's things in like therapy that like come up that I like wouldn't want someone to know. Like I think I've talked about a lot of them on here, especially in like the anxiety episode, or no, the transformation episode, where I really got into like details of like my eating disorder, as much as I could without like trying to trigger anybody. But like verbalizing the things that I have told myself for like 18 years is like super dark, and like unearthing that and the subconscious of like, Gabi, you think that you're like not worth anything and you felt that way for 18 years. And like, it all stems from this like one moment. And then when this person said this, and when this person said this, and when this happened, and you made fun of this person and you got encouraged to do that, like all that shit. It's unraveling like years of shit.
You think there's a way to like heal the subconscious or like retrain the shit, or you think there's always going to be something like deep down inside within you that has that like initial... All right, let's just say like a fear. Let's just say that maybe when you were younger, you had a fear of swimming, like or like something like that.
Or like the way it would like Freud would explain it would be like there's a girl, like there's a little girl or a little boy who gets bitten by a dog at like 5, and then for the rest of their life, whenever they see a dog, they cower or they get like really scared. Like that's a conditioned response, but it might be tucked away in your subconscious. Like you might not even remember being attacked by the dog, but you remember that this is bad. You should be afraid of it. Right. So Freud believed that you could like, once you like had that, you could like do some work around it. And I do kind of agree, because like in my case, like unearthing the like cause and like hidden core beliefs and subconscious beliefs that I have about myself and about like when one is worthy of love and acceptance. Like once I unearthed that, then we can like really do some work about like, you know, to use the metaphor of like a garden, it's like this one poisonous weed, and we finally found like the root, like we traced through all the dirt and we found like all of its little points. And now we can start like getting to the base of the root to rip out that weed. But it's a process. And it's difficult, and you'll strain, and you might get stabbed by some thorns, and you might have to strain and strain and strain. And the moment you get off like part of it, oh, it's just a part of the root. Now you go back in, get another part of the root. Ideally, you get the whole fucking weed out of there.
Yeah. Do you think though, because at least subconscious, because like consciously, like at least the difference between the two is consciously is like you're making a conscious like thought, like it's purposeful or it's like even acted out, but then like subconscious is more implicit. It's hard to find, like it's more like reactionary.
Yeah, it's totally like lizard brain, where like it's just like it feels primitive.
Yeah,
like I feel that way again. Like I feel like it's every time I have a reaction towards like, again, the example I will always go back to is like if I'm alone on the street and there's a man or men, I am instantly like freaked out, or I'll like pay attention to like what they look like, how they're looking at me, what direction they're going, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that it's hard because like you can't really unearth that because like it's a primitive thing. It's totally a socialized thing too. Because I've been on the street before and men have like harassed me or like said shit to me and, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think like, is it possible to like do work on your subconscious? Like, yeah, but you gotta be with like a trained professional, or you gotta be like really, really reflective about like what you believe and why. Like those cognitive behavioral workbooks for like depression and anxiety, eating disorders, like those are awesome tools to like digging through shit.
Yeah. I don't know, at least like with the shit that's in my subconscious, I just don't see anything that's really changed over the years so much as like the only thing that's really changed is like how I felt about it. Mm-hmm. But like there's all like pretty much everything that I've been carrying with me my whole life is still like ever present, but it's not. It's a lot different, like in terms of like how I reflect on it and like what I can learn from it. But there's a lot of shit that I just don't like. Just interacting with people, like I'm a performative extrovert, and like I'm at work, I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm like really friendly, but like at the end of the day, like I don't want to fucking talk to anybody. Like I would be totally fine with that, and like that's never going to be like unlearned or like whenever I I don't like anybody standing behind me or like when I'm sitting, like people standing like above me and like looking down, or like how I don't like going to this grocery store or like just like being asked questions like on the street or just cats or just any dude. Okay, kids, cats, and homeless people just fuck with me no matter what. They like okay. What I'm gonna say about homeless people, it's not that they're homeless that bothers me. It's just the ones that are homeless all fuck with just me.
Well, you've said that before in our Chicago episode.
Yeah,
you talked about Sylvester the Bum.
Oh God, Sylvester.
But like yeah, I don't know what it is, and like that's I don't like being fucked with like on the street, and like that was part of what happened in the baseball game yesterday, and I was just like unnerved the whole time because it's like I don't know who the fuck you are, and like this goes for anything. Like I don't care like who you are, like don't fucking talk to me in the street. Like who are you? Like no, don't fucking talk to me. I don't know.
So I don't know. I guess maybe that's the best way to go about it. I mean, at least for me, is to just like be more aware and vigilant on like, what I am experiencing and what I am thinking. But I don't know if there's a way for me that I could ever unlearn it or completely transform it to where that's never a part of my life again. Mm-hmm. Like the addictive side of my psyche personality, like that's never going to go away. I just have to completely abstain. Mm-hmm. Like that's why I don't smoke, drink, do drugs, because I know if I had one beer, I would be a severe alcoholic. I would be a chain smoker. I would be a dope fiend. Like that's how bad. But that's just like my personality. Like that's just like how I'm wired. But I have to make better decisions around that. Well,
yeah, and like if you think about like the subconscious, like we have the wiring, right? And then like subconsciously, again, we have that like want and need for control, and substances for you push that edge where you can't be in control anymore. Right. So it's kind of like this. No, I can't give in to that because then this will happen.
Yeah. Do you ever have subconscious feelings like you just wanted to hit someone in the face with a bat?
Yeah. Like I keep using this phrase like, oh yeah, he has a really punchable face. Like, yeah. Like I get really like, that's a good thing to talk about is like subconsciously, like, I have a lot of like violent tendencies, like not that I will act upon them, but like all of a sudden, like there will be a time when like my skin will just crawl and I can't explain why. Like, I have this one thing about like, I don't think I've even told you this. Like I have a thing where if I'm in a certain affect and like I'm bothered by somebody, if that person like touches me to try to like reassure me or like grabs my hand or like my arm, like I just want to like reel back and like fucking hit him. Like it's really bad. And I'm like, where the fuck did that come from?
Oh shit. As I say, because I've tried to come for you quite a few times.
Oh no. Oh no. Like it's never been with like you, but like there's been like times where like a person has like pissed me off. I have one person in particular in my mind who just like makes me mad. Like yesterday with that person at the ball game, I just was like, I could fucking deck you right now. Oh. And I wouldn't do that to this person. But this person knows, like, they'll try to like hold my hand or like put their arm on my hand on my arm to like reassure me, or like if they want my attention, they'll like grab me and like I will just be like, don't fucking touch me. Like and I don't know where that comes from. Like there would be this times where this person would like talk to me because they were in like a certain way, and I was really upset that they were in that certain way, and then they'd try to touch me, and it was like, I don't know how to say this any other way, so like please don't read into it because I've never been abused like this, but like it was like I felt like they were like violating me. Like I've never been like abused like sexually, but like when this person would like talk to me and like grab my hand or grab my arm, like it felt like they were violating me. But they, like, obviously, I haven't been molested. I've never, thank God, like, experienced that. But it felt like that level of violation.
Like, was it only during the context of, like, an argument like that they would try to reassure you? Or was it just, like, let's just say you guys were genuinely having, like, a vulnerable, tender moment, and then, like, they just reached out to you and put their hand on their shoulder, and you still felt that reaction?
Yep, I would still feel that. Like, I was being violated.
Fuck.
Yeah. And, like, I can't explain it because I've never been abused. By, like, and I bet you anything, some crackpot psychologist would be like, well, you're having that reaction, you probably have been, and you blocked it out, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, I don't really think that happened. Like,
that's also very, I have an ethical problem with that when you're, then again, I don't know how therapists work or their certain school, but, like, to me, at least with an effective one, they should just be listening to you and, like, being reactive to, like, what you're saying, like, help you restructure it, as opposed to, like, possibly giving you an aha moment that you wouldn't have come. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, wait, maybe when you were a kid, this happened. Can you think of anything like that?
Exactly. Like, has this person ever, like, you know, been like this with you or done this with you? And, like, no, they haven't. Well, but you're reacting this way. Like, no, like, my therapist doesn't do that, thank God. And I think most good therapists don't. But yeah, no. So, like, I think that's one subconscious thing that I can't, like, if I'm feeling like this person has just been this way before, where, like, and they're not trying to hurt me, they're not trying to be abusive or get fresh with me, but, like, I will just, like, want to fucking reel back and punch them.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Well, it's kind of like how I've never been beheaded. I've never seen a beheading, and I've never known anybody who's even known anybody who has been beheaded. But if anyone slightly annoys me, I want to cut their head off. Like ISIS style. Like, I fucking just, wow, 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 and just fucking rip it off. But then, like, go on with the rest of my day. Not even, like, hold it up in celebration. Just wow, 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 and then just, like, go back to work. And then just, like, you know, just, like, carry on. Which I think the carrying on is more disturbing than the beheading.
Well, that's, like, too, sometimes I'll get, like, yesterday we were at the ball game. These 3 girls, like, there was 3 open seats next to us, and there was a couple in there, and then they left for, like, they would randomly leave for, like, multiple innings and then come back, and it was, like, really weird. Like, I don't know what they were doing. Maybe they were walking on the ballpark or something. And, like, before the 7th inning stretch, these 3 women sit down, and they're like, they have this fucking frequency of voice that's, like, really high pitched, and they're talking like this, and they're so drunk, and they're sloppy. And I just, like, again, that reaction of, like, I just want to hit the shit out of you and tell you and make you shut up. And I, like, the person I was with, like, looked at me and was, like, laughing, and I just looked at them and I was like, I feel like my brain cells are fucking dying, which is, like, so mean of me. That's so not cool. But, like, yeah, no, I'm just like, you're annoying the shit out of me, and my visceral reaction is, like, I want to punch you.
Yeah. See,
I'm not a violent person, though.
See, like, as much shit as I talk about Kofi Kingston's tits, I would cut people's head off if they told me otherwise about pro wrestling. Like, if they say, oh, hey, Brent, how was your weekend? Oh, it was good. I actually watched WrestleMania. Don't you know wrestling is fake? Wow, 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 wow.
I feel you. Because, like, yeah, sometimes I'm just like, yeah, like, I'm just, like, so I just will go from 0 to 100 annoyance level and want to, like, punch somebody. And I'm not a violent person. But while I was saying that, I was kind of like, well, I really do enjoy, like, mosh pits, and, like, when there's that moment where I can just get in there and, like, fucking, like, release my stress and, like, push and get hit, like, I really love that. But again, like, subconsciously, what does that say about me? That I'm, like, really violent and, like, I just want to lose control even though I want control. Like, there's 2 wolves within me fighting it out. Like, I don't fucking know.
See, that's like with, like, all, like, the CIA torture shit and waterboarding. Like, yeah, it's, like, horrifying when you think about it. But then, like, I try to rationalize it, like, in my own head, subconsciously saying, like, well, what if they were just being annoying? Like, what
Stop.
What if they, like, okay, like, you should never waterboard someone for information. Like, that is fucking torture. That is wrong. That, like, honestly, that is, like, a violation of human rights. But what if they were chewing with their mouth open?
waterboarding torture is never appropriate to get information. But if the person is fucking annoying you, yeah, you can torture them.
Yeah, okay, like you should never, for political or religious reasons, like, you know,
kill or harm somebody.
But what if they were talking and texting during the movie?
Like, literally, again, I don't know what it says about me, but I agree with you. Where I'm just like, yeah, like with those women yesterday, I was like, while my brain does not go to decapitation, it's mostly like, I just want to fucking hit you. Like, I could totally see, like, well, if they were decapitated, they couldn't talk.
Yeah, like I saw Us in theaters a few weeks ago, and I went by myself, and I really wanted to see the movie. And like, what I do is I sit all the way in the back row, if I can. I sit all the way in the back row in the top, and then I actually sit in the middle, and I pull my hoodie over my head, and then I actually tighten the strings so I only have this peripheral where just my eyes.
And you look terrifying.
Yeah, I look like Kenny from South Park. Like, that's just how I watch the movie, so I'm like not distracted. But even still, there were a lot of, I don't know if they were kids, but there were just a lot of people that were just talking, yakking it up. They were on their phones, but they were still reacting to the movie. Like, you know, like when there was a jump scare, they were like still on their phones, not even looking at it. But when there was a jump scare, they were still like throwing popcorn in the air and shit. But then I was just like, you know, maybe if there was a giant, like honestly, if something happened in this theater right now, I can hide and pretend that I'm dead so good. I could hold my breath for like a minute and a half. So if the guy came in and just started fucking, I don't know, if they just started saying like a fucking deli meat out loud and then just started like mowing people's heads off, I would just be, you know something? Thank you, sir. But what if but then I would hope on the news story, like, yo, guy like did this, like he just killed people because they were talking during the movie. And
you're like, oh, that's justifiable.
Yeah, that actually happened. Like there was this one guy like a couple years ago who shot another guy in the movie theater because he was on his fucking phone the whole time.
I didn't know that. That's all. I'm like, it's horrible, but it's hysterical.
Right, but I've had that feeling.
You're like, there's a sense of justice here.
Yeah,
it's like it's a very like Larry David way of thinking. Like, have you watched Curb Your Enthusiasm?
No, not yet.
I think that you would really enjoy it. The hardest part of watching that is realizing that you are secretly Larry David on the inside and coming to terms with that.
It's who knows, man. But like, I get very vengeful and violent thoughts just at the slightest annoyances.
Yeah, example in Curb Your Enthusiasm, there's a very significant part of the whole series where someone puts a drink on a wooden table or counter and it like leaves like a ring and he like freaks out because he's like, do you respect wood? I respect wood. And is like encouraging them to use a coaster. And they're like, no, like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not a big deal. And like, there's always these scenarios where like he's doing like one thing and then all of a sudden the person's doing the opposite and he gets like really upset and like mad at them and like is explaining like why they're wrong. And they're like, no, like this is, and like, again, you just sit there in horror and you're like, I am Larry David. This is my fucking life. Like, and it's horrifying because like, it's not that Larry David's a bad person. It's just recognizing that your Larry David isn't great. I mean, there's like this part of the show where he like goes in and I think all the stalls are empty. But he uses like the big wheelchair accessible one. And then he like opens the door and waiting to use the stall is a man who's like using a wheelchair. He puts on this show that like he needed to use the stall and he like limps out. But it's a very bad way.
Oh, that actually happened to me twice at work at two different campuses with the same guy.
What? Did he just look at you like, you motherfucker?
Yeah, because like the first time, like it wasn't a wheelchair. It was like this walker with wheels. And then like, you know, you put your leg on, like you put like one knee on there. But he was still an older guy.
Oh, like a scooter thing? Like where like they like lean on the one and they...
Yeah, but like he didn't work. I don't know. He was just old. So the first time, like here's the thing. I always use the handicap stall. Only because I just like to just have my elbows out when I'm pissing. I don't, you know, because I don't like being like... Because the stalls in public restrooms.
Wait. You go in a stall to urinate? Don't you have a urinal?
Okay, if there's a wall, like if there's like a separator there, yeah, I'll use the urinal. But like not every urinal has the wall separator. Not only that, but there's sometimes like
there'll just be 4 without the separator.
But it's always an odd number too. So, okay, typically like if here's when I would use the stall. One, if let's just say there's 3 urinals. And they don't have the wall separator, and there's a guy in the middle, and you just you walk in, you just see his cock and balls pissing.
Yeah,
I don't want to just go next to this.
The rule is you leave one, right?
Yeah, but he's like leaning back, and like he has a free arm where he looks like if you were to piss next to him, he'd be like, "Hey man, what's up?" So I go in the stall, and I always go in the handicap stall because it's beautiful and large, and I could fucking I could actually just have my elbows out.
Oh my God.
And I could just freely piss, and I could just fucking hear the Return to Innocence song as I'm pissing, I just hear that.
You feel God in that stall.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh my God, like God is like such this strong fucking feeling I've had inside me that like, and like now I'm going to try to live my life as if God exists because the heaven that I want to create is now. And I'm like, oh wait, what the fuck? Oh shit! So then I get back to planet Earth and zip up, flush the toilet, and then he's just out there
stewing in anger,
waiting, and not very patiently. And here he had his suspenders down. So
when you say they were just taken. Like, he just, took them, his arms are free now, right?
No, his suspenders were down like a wrestler before a finishing move.
Yeah.
And then he was there, and I was so fucking, I wanted to say, sir, listen to me. This is the first time this has ever happened. You gotta know that if you were, if you were upright, I didn't say this, but I'm just like, dude, come on, you gotta give me a break. So then, I was like, okay, I'm never gonna see him again, that's fine. Months later, at a completely different campus, I was pissing, and then I was just fucking listening to just oh no, not again. And then I would just panic. And here's another thing too, is I clean up after myself. I don't clean up everybody else's stuff. And the guys, a lot of the times, the guys don't even lift the lid when they piss. So there's piss all over the seat.
Ew.
I refuse to clean that up because it's not my piss. I'll clean up my piss. If it's a clean toilet and then I piss, and sometimes some droplets get down, I'll actually take a wad of toilet paper and I will clean it myself. But this guy, piss was on, not only on the lid, it was on the big part of the bowl and dripping down from the sides, and this guy was obviously hungover, and it was this brown piss.
Oh God!
Dehydrated piss.
Oh shit!
So I went in there and I didn't clean up. So I left, and this fucking guy is ready to do his wrestling finishing move in there, and then I just walk out. I wash my hands, and I was like, oh my God, he's gonna think I completely pissed all over everything. And then I'm gonna vomit. So then, as I was leaving, I just heard him, fucking do, the Joe Pesci grumble in Home Alone, as I'm leaving the bathroom, I'm just oh my God. But that guy probably just wanted to, be like, hi, sir, how you doing? Wow, 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 wow.
I have never had that experience, but... Yeah, no, that guy clearly wanted to kill you after that.
This past year, literally the summer of July 2017 until March of a couple, this March. That has happened. The same guy twice, completely random.
He thinks you're the biggest piece of shit in the world.
But that's the only time, here's the thing. It's cool that we have handicap accessible restrooms and bathrooms. I think it's a great thing because it's hard enough to just navigate around the world when you're disabled, and actually you have to be conscious of the fact that you might be going to an establishment that does not have accommodation such as a ramp or steps or just anything that is completely built around the world that is not fit how you navigate through it. I think it's a wonderful thing. However, those are the superior restrooms. Like they like this it's there's so much room.
It's like the luxury sedan. It's like just the best.
They're so good because every handicapped stall I've ever been to, the fucking lock it looked like someone tried to kick the door down.
Really?
Every time the lock is not lackey enough. Like it looks like it's just broken. But then it's not the handicap. Like it's like there's no way this guy was fucking like being like Joe Swanson from Family Guy, just with his arms and kicking the fucking door with his gimpy legs.
Oh my god!
No, but other people are trying to kick these fucking doors unless people are doing drugs or hiding in there, or having sex, and the cops are kicking them down. I don't know, but the locks on all these handicap stalls, that's the only thing, and they're kind of warped, so it looks like the makings of the capital letter C instead of like the flat panel of the door. But other than that, you got a handle to like get up afterwards. And with just my luck, that poor man, and he was wearing the same suspenders, the same old man.
Were his suspenders down the second time?
Yeah, like he was. I thought he was gonna spear me, but I'm like, oh, he can't even walk. I'm fine.
Oh, Jesus!
But then, but who knows, man? I've seen it in wrestling where like they were feigning, like Becky Lynch. She came in the ring with like crutches, and then she just beat the shit out of Charlotte and Ronda Rousey with the crutches to feign.
Speaking of, who won?
Becky Lynch.
Thank fucking God. Yeah. Thank fucking God. Fuck Ronda Rousey. Fuck Charlotte Flair. Fuck them.
I didn't like the finish though. It was kind of it wasn't a submission win. So Ronda Rousey,
she didn't tap.
No, Ronda Rousey gave Becky Lynch like this Samoan drop, but then Becky Lynch gave her like this kind of cradle pin. But Rousey's shoulders weren't down the full 3 seconds, but she still won the match, and it was like random and everything. But in any case, I have been to wrestling shows where my beheading fantasies, me and my friend I was with would have been the last people standing at these shows, because the things that wrestling fans shout, like when you're there and you're just trying to be like, it's like let's go Kofi, Daniel Bryan, like shit like that. But then like when there's like silence, and then they're just going like, die, Rocky, die! And they're just saying random shit and like, slam the shit out of her! Fuck it! And there's like little kids around.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the dads are like, hey, like my daughter's here. Could you please just not shout fucking?
Yeah. Or like yesterday we were at the ball game and this guy's like, he's like, kick their fucking ashes! And this mom was like, excuse me, are we done now? And like pointed to her son who was like 7. And it's like, oh yeah, you like can't. That's my biggest fear is I'll be that asshole who's like, fuck, motherfucking, and then like there's a mom with like her like small baby and she's like, could you watch your language, ma'am? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm the worst human. Like, oh God, like,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
This is almost as bad as, taking the wheelchair accessible stall when someone with a wheelchair is there needing it.
Yeah, because if you think the world isn't enough for you, imagine like that they tried to accommodate you and then there's some guy like me pissing in there.
Which just like strolls out and then you're like,
yeah.
That's again, those people want to just beat the shit out of you. But that's okay.
Yeah.
There's there's like certain times where like I will just like, again, just want to like beat the crap out of somebody, or like small little annoyances. Another one too is like if someone's like rude, I just like I can't. It bugs me.
Like, what an example?
Like, I've been at a bar, for example, where like the bartenders, like maybe it's a busy time and I got it, and they've got like 3 people like running to like get, to like serve all the people, right? And like you're standing there and like they are serving other people who've been there a shorter amount of time, and they've been there a shorter amount of time, and like I have empathy for that because I've been a bartender, so I get it. But internally I'm like, just want to get my fucking drink. I want to fucking leave. and then I'm gonna have to fucking tip this guy because I'm a nice person, and I'm gonna and just like that shit. Like I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like my head should have been cut off several times over the past, like throughout my life. I shouldn't be an adult.
Oh, now. The other one too. People shouting in public. just want to kill them. Just like, shut the fuck up. Who are you? Like, whenever you're like on the CTA and then like maybe you're like waiting for the train or like you're waiting for the bus or like something, then there's like, you know, it's a good day when I don't run into one of these fuckers, but like they'll just be like fucking yelling and like, I'm like, you know what? I don't fucking want to deal with you. Can you shut the fuck up? I don't care what's going on in your life. Like, shut up.
So pretty much any protest.
Well, protesters, I'm like, if they're in one area and they're contained and it's for protesting, fine. If you're just a guy fucking trying to hawk your wares on the corner or like yelling at people to give you change, like stop. Like, just fucking stop. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm a bitch for saying that. Be like, just shut up and be submissive. Like, maybe, you know. Yeah, I'm a horrible person, right?
Yeah.
But you know, when people are just shouting in public, I'm like, shut the, and like that makes me feel like really old. That I'm just like, shut the fuck up.
No, the worst is like, okay, like when at any public show like that has stadium seating, like with wrestling, like typically like when a wrestler comes out or a fan favorite, you know, they get cheers. People stand on their feet, or let's just say that there's about to be a big move done in the match. So like, let's just say if somebody climbs the ladder, everybody in the crowd just stands up to see, like, it's just how it is. And then like the moment is done and then like the fog is cleared and everybody sits back down except one guy that's like 5 rows and he's just fucking standing there. And then like one time like a guy said like, hey, can you sit down? And he's like, no, you stand up. And I just like, okay, I wanted to brutalize his family in front of him. Like seriously, like his mom and dad, hey, that's my son, wow, 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 wow. And like him just like, no, mom, why? I just like, oh, you like your dad? Go. Just completely rip off all their heads and track down and have him do Ancestry.com like at gunpoint and like track down his fucking whole bloodline. And like, you see, you should have just fucking sat down. You know, but guess what? And then like just completely like tore like, I'm sorry, man. You should have just stood up and just fucking get back onto the wrestling. Like the shitty wrestling fans really bring it out of me the most. And there's a shitty wrestling fan with everything, no matter what the fuck it is. And I just thank God I am acting more on my conscious and not my subconscious because, I don't know. Have you ever met, a genuinely good person who had a genuinely good, like, subconscious, like, who was just like, okay, like, they're an amazing person, like, outside, like, whatever. But then, like, you could just tell that, like, they would kill everybody if they had a chance. So the only person who's, like, super pure on the inside and the outside is my friend Agnes, who we call Grandma. She's just, or, like, Babcia, which is grandma in Polish because she's Polish. And, like, she's just the most pure person inside and out 1,000%, and like too pure for this world completely. And she, I think, is the only person that I can say that about. Yeah. Which is like beautiful and amazing and speaks to how wonderful she is. But yeah, no, I just am like, yeah, I feel bad when I have those urges that I just want to punch somebody in the face or like fucking deck them. But I think what matters is I don't act on it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I can't control my subconscious. I can't. Like, I can try to do some work and, like, go to therapy. But, like, I'm also afraid to tell my therapist that, like, yeah, sometimes someone will say something and I just want to fucking hit them. Little do you know, your therapist is like, I just wanted to punch the shit out of Gabby this whole time. Yeah, she's like, this girl's so fucking annoying. Like, it probably has fucking eating a sort of white girl bullshit. But not even that. It's sort of like, oh my God, when she says when she emphasizes certain words, she like blinks her eyes a certain way, or like, let's just. Do I really? No. Oh, okay. Or like, because you noticed my eyebrow movement that one time. When I get like my eyes get really wide, and my eyebrows go up because I'm mad. Or like she's like, oh my God, the way she's sitting in my fucking chair. Oh my God, why is she just my beautiful fucking chair? Oh, that's really sad. Here, just let's do this activity where you're not sitting in my fucking chair.
She's fucking crying again. When is this bitch when does she not fucking cry?
Yeah, just like wow, that's what you get for ruining my fucking beautiful chair. So yeah, we're fucked. Oh, yeah. Everyone's fucked. So
I think that's the point is that everyone's fucked up in their subconscious, and we've all got this like weird shit on the inside. But you know, at the end of the day, because we all have it, it's really okay.
Yeah.
Ish.
So just don't actually start beheading people in public.
Yeah, don't actually deck people, even if they're being annoying, even if they deserve it.
Because all that would be left is Agnes, and she'd be like, "Oh my goodness, what?"
Agnes is like the only person left on the world because she's the purest, most amazing, beautiful person ever.
Yeah, and
it's just her.
And then but then she has the thought. She's like, "Wait a minute, how the fuck am I going to drive to work now with all these?" Then that would be it.
Well, if you liked what you heard today, you can like us on Facebook at Coffee and Catastrophe. You can follow us on Twitter at CCWBG. And you can also check out our website, www.coffeeandcatastrophe.com. All of our episodes are there. You can also like, comment, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, and CastBox.
And guess what? We're on YouTube, yo! Look up Coffee and Catastrophe with Brent and Gabi on YouTube. Please listen to our episodes before some of them are pulled. Yeah, but in the meantime, everybody, please take care of yourselves and be good to each other.
Bye now.